Three up, three down, 14 years in the Premier League, no more for West Ham. Let's break it down. Hello, guys, and welcome back to Beyond the Whistle with me, Matty K, and a very, very sad Grace Wild. Hello, Grace.
It's a very slow twinkle today.
There's no,
Hello.
there's no delightful Grace today, is there?
No, I will be saying delightful in this podcast because there was some delightful goals, but I can't say I'm feeling delightful today, Matthew, I have to say.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm feeling very delightful, but it's been a very interesting weekend. A little bit of admin before we jump into the podcast. If you've not seen this before, hit the like, hit follow, hit subscribe, do whatever you need to do on whatever platform you're listening to. You get told by all your favourite content creators, including us. Where should we start, Grace? I want to start with Hull City now in the Premier League. I was fortunate enough to be there at Wembley. Incredible day, very, very long. If you're going to do the playoffs, don't do it by coach. That's all I'm going to say. Very, very long day. But yeah, well done, Hull. Welcome back to the Premier League, and we're looking forward to talking all about you next season. Don't think you're going to be there for very long, I'll be honest with you, but enjoy it. There's at time recording, the parade should be starting in about an hour or so. So yeah, if anyone's at that, enjoy it. Let us know how you got on. Should we jump into the Premier League action? Great. Oh, sorry, last very bit of admin. Sorry, before we jump in. Spotify, people have been asking about this. Yeah, look, we've had some problems with Spotify. What I'm going to do is just take a bit of a chill on it until next season, after the World Cup sort of calmed down, and I'm going to get us right back on Spotify after that. There's a little bit of technical problems with the uploads and stuff, but it is being looked at and it is going to get sorted. We are going to do a quiz next week, and then we're going to have a week off because we've earned it, and it's been a very long season, and then we're going to jump straight into some World Cup stuff. Admin out the way. Grace, do you want to kick us off with the first game?
Yes, I can. Well, to be honest with you, the first game, according to these were all 4 o'clock kickoffs, right? Final day of the season. I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Can I just say
Go
on
on.
that, actually, I fucking love this, and I think this should happen week in, week out. I know we like a little bit of football on a Sunday and then Monday night game. And I'm a big fan of a Friday night fixture. The absolute chaos of everybody playing at the same time, I loved it. I had my phone propped up, I had my laptop on, I had the TV on. It was incredible. I love this, mate.
I fucking hated it because it was it was horrendous watching Tottenham score so early on. But anyway, not good. My first fixture on here is Tottenham, but I want to save that one because obviously I feel like our crescendo should be the relegation battle, as that was the thing that was massively decided on the day. Shall we start with good news for Sunderland? Sunderland 2, Chelsea 1.
Yes, and a bit of a poor end towards Sunderland's season. They've been very flat, haven't they, recently? And again, another red card.
Yeah, it was a second yellow for Fafana. And I'll be honest with you, it was one of those situations where as a defender he was beaten, he just dragged the player down. I don't think he was alone. I think Colwell was also doing the same thing, but I believe he was the main culprit. And yeah, they end the season with no Europe and another red card. Yeah, I think they will definitely put this season aside. And they'll be looking forward to next season with a new manager.
Yeah, Sunderland, however, do manage to get some European football next season. I always said, didn't I? I've said from the very start of this podcast, what Brentford were doing was incredible under Keith Andrews. And I said, if they make European football, he's going to be my manager of the season. I think Sunderland's just made a very, very strong case for that.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I think they sort of crept up on us all, didn't they? Because it was so busy around every area of the Premier League. It sort of got to the final day, and I realised the position that Sunderland were in, and it gives me great joy that Sunderland have not just come up and stayed up; they've come up and gotten themselves European football. I mean, it's just delightful, isn't it? It is so good. Great fan base. And they should just go and enjoy this, go and enjoy this summer, this World Cup, and look forward to next season. But like you say, I think the manager has definitely put himself forward for manager of the year.
Absolutely. I think Sunderland, their first objective was obviously just to survive. And then once that was sort of pretty much looking good, that the next step was then finish above Newcastle. But then to finish where they have, I don't think anybody expected that.
No, and I think as well, what they've done is they've created the blueprint, haven't they, of how to come up from the championship and survive. And I think it proves everybody's point that it needs investment. You can't just come up with the same squad and expect to stay up. Doesn't work like that. So it's going to be really interesting. to see Cobb, Ipswich, and Hull come up and see if they try and replicate it.
Yeah, do you want a little bit of early doors breaking news?
Go on.
Dominic Solanke's strike against Manchester City. Oh, sorry, it's not breaking news. Forget that. He's only been nominated for goal of the season.
Oh, okay.
Just sneaked up on me there. I thought it'd been announced then. I was going to say that's early, but no, okay. He's been nominated for goal of the season. Scrap that. No, no breaking news.
I love this podcast, man. It's just pure chaos.
It's great, isn't it? Yeah, Chelsea. I mean, we spoke about this last week. They've already been announced with their new manager. I think they're going to be okay, but it's going to be very difficult with that sort of size squad and the players that they've got. And we spoke about the players on the big contracts that they're on. What do they do, Grace, next season?
Uh, I've sort of fallen out of the sort of conversation in terms of what the rules are now, with financial fair play and all that sort of stuff. They're on a suspended transfer ban, if I'm not wrong. Is that true?
I believe so.
Um, I think there's quite a lot of quality in that squad. I mean, to be fair, they could nab Disassi. Disassi was excellent for us. And he's not going to sign permanently because we're in the championship. So, he'll go back to Chelsea. There's always that centre back option. The truth is that they've got their fingers in a lot of pies. And for me, I think Alonso just needs to come in and sort of work out what he wants, what he doesn't want, and see if they can get some good signings across the line, and hopefully not lose anybody. I think that's the key. I know there's talk of Palmer, and he's not had the greatest season, but I'll be honest with you, I think he showed yesterday why he potentially should have been included in the England squad, because that strike was lovely, really, really nice, and he has the ability to pull that out of the bag. So keep hold of him, and you never know.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to dive into it. I've said about Cole Palmer before. I'm not his biggest fan, to be honest with you. I'm not overly bothered about him not being in the squad. There's questions of that squad. We'll get to that at some point in a future podcast, definitely before the World Cup starts. But yeah, you're right. I think there's an argument to say that Chelsea are going to do very well next season with only playing one game a week. But they're going to be very disappointed with how this season turned out, especially considering under Maresca, I don't think there was actually that bad. But there we go, surprise decision. Should we move on, Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, should we go? Should we talk about it then? Should we talk about the Premier League champions? I don't really want to do it, but Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 1. It was confirmed midweek after Man City drew 1-1, was it, with Bournemouth?
Yes, it was.
Yes, and Arsenal are your champions. Well done. Next game, Grace.
No, we can't do that. We can't do that. Look, I mean, I've heard things thrown about like they're the worst champions ever and all that sort of stuff. At the end of the day, and this is my feelings towards it, they got the points when City didn't. And a lot of us, and I am one of those people, doubted that they would get those points. Did they do it sort of squeaky bum time sometimes? Yes, I do think they did. There was 1-0 wins that were squeaky, But at the end of the day, they're the ones that got the points on the board. They're the champions. And to be fair, when we look at that squad on paper, take away who we support, when you look at that squad on paper at the beginning of the season, you said they should win the league. They should do. The squad's brilliant.
Yeah, it's not so much the results and the way this. Well, yeah, look, the style of football wasn't brilliant to watch, but it was kind of like the whole refereeing decisions and the VAR drama around them and stuff like that. And it's not going to have an asterisk against it because look, they've won it, but you know what I mean. There's question marks over a lot of refereeing decisions, and they all seem to fall in Arsenal's favour. But like you said before, when you're at the top of the table, it seems to go that way. When you're at the bottom of the table, it seems to go against you. And Arsenal fans are not going to care. They'll be out partying. Well, they'll be focused on PSG now. And then after that, go crazy. So, but look, I'm very glad there's a World Cup coming up because I don't think I could have done with a full summer of Arsenal fans banging on. But yeah, enjoy your parade. Enjoy your sad little lives. I don't care. Grace, can we just move on? It's just
Just add, though, that obviously they've got this Champions League final coming up. They're playing against one of my favourite teams I've ever watched
yeah.
in football. And look, I'm quite young, so I'm not going up against that many teams. But in terms of watching football in detail like I do now, this PSG side is one of my favourites to watch. I absolutely adore it. Um, I think it might be grounding for Arsenal, and I mean that, I'm trying to be as neutral as possible because I think PSG are just another level. I think if they'd have played PSG or Bayern Munich, they're just another level. And I actually think it's going to show the lack of quality that is potentially in the Premier League at the moment because I can't see that Champions League final going in Arsenal's favour. I don't know about you.
Well, yeah, it's going to be difficult for Arsenal, but I think Arteta said he's got some game plan or something, so we'll see what bollocks he comes out with this time. But yeah, look, well done. I can't. I'm a Tottenham fan. I'm not going to give you too much praise, but you've won it. So Crystal Palace, I think their full focus is on the Conference League final, isn't it? But look, 15th place. It's probably not where you wanted to finish, but I think it's respectable considering you're playing twice a week for most of the season. So yeah, look, what can you say about Crystal Palace, Chris?
And they've kept their head above water pretty much all season. You know, there's been quite a few teams that have dipped into this relegation battle because it's been going on for a long time. And actually, I don't think Palace's name has been mentioned that often. Um, so to keep their heads above water whilst also competing in Europe, and to be fair, they're going to have a fresh start next season with no Glasner. If Glasner can win them this Conference League as a sort of farewell gift, that'd be brilliant. And to be fair, you know, I know what it's like to win the Europa Conference League, and and you know as well to win the Europa League, and it just sort of takes your view off of the Premier League, and that's what you remember from this season. You're not thinking about 15th place. You're thinking about that trophy that you've won. And to be fair, I'm really rooting for them on Wednesday. I will be streaming it on my TikTok. So I'm looking forward to it, hoping that Palace get the trophy because yeah, I'm pleased for them.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to take a little break in terms of our usual running because I wanted to ask you your opinion on something, Grace. We didn't get to speak about it on the last podcast. Give me your little thoughts on the Spygate scenario. Southampton were kicked out of the playoff final against Hull. Hull was obviously confirmed to be there. It was always up in the air between Middlesbrough and Southampton, but I wanted to get your thoughts on it.
I think it feels like a harsh punishment given that Leeds only got a fine for it. However, you look at, I mean, for me, I haven't found the playoffs that fascinating this season. I know you have because you've got a personal, you know, you've got skin in the game type situation, but I haven't found it as quite as beautiful as usual because there's been so much controversy around it. And, you know, I'm really pleased that Hull won on Sunday because I know they were going to take legal action if they didn't win and all that sort of stuff. It was just shrouded by just pure controversy. And to be honest with you, I'm pleased that they're putting a sort of full stop on this spying situation. Like the fine wasn't strong enough. Every person that works in a football club now needs to understand spying is a big no-no. And I think they have firmly put their opinion forward. It can't happen. And if it does happen, you will be punished and it will be detrimental to you. I think it's really harsh on Southampton fans because they will have had no idea this was going on. I think you could look at Oxford, for example, as being, you know, they've admitted that it was Oxford as one of the games that they were looking at. Oxford got relegated and there wasn't that many points in it. You know, they probably would have beaten them anyway. But to be fair, you can't help but question it. It's just, I'm glad they've you know, they've really stamped down on it because it has just caused chaos in the championship over the last sort of week or so.
Well, you say that about Oxford. I think I'm just going to fact check this. I think the game that they was actually spying on was the Boxing Day game where Southampton actually lost 2-1. So it didn't go in their favour anyway. The same with, I think there was another club that came out. Was it Millwall? It could have been Millwall. There was another club that came out and there was that provided evidence that Southampton had been spying. So I think there was three clubs in total. Southampton failed to beat that team as well. So it's not like this is actually ended up working out in Southampton's favour. Yeah, look, I think it was handled very poorly in terms of the fans and stuff. Obviously, it's people will have paid a lot of money for hotel and travel. Like I'm assuming the travel will probably have been like refunded. In most cases, the hotels are a little bit trickier. I mean, if I was a Middlesbrough fan, I'd be contacting every Southampton fan up like as far and wide as I can to try and buy it off them because I think in terms of Middlesbrough, the prices would have been through the roof anyway. Look, there'd be riots, I think, if Middlesbrough had won because they shouldn't have been there. And now they've got the title of not of being the first club ever and probably the last club ever to lose the semi-final of the playoffs and the final of the playoffs in the same. in the same season, which is just mental. But yeah, I think it could have been handled very, very differently. And at the end of the day, I think um, maybe the right team sort of went up in terms of justice. Maybe is the right word. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I just wanted to get your opinion on it because I think it was something that we didn't get to speak about last time, but we probably should have.
So just one question to you, because I've seen this as well, and there is an element of I agree with it where the individuals should be punished rather than the club being punished. Now, obviously, the individuals' actions have affected the club, but is it fair that the players, the fans, that everybody other than those people that decided to do something stupid are being punished for this?
Well, again, I think there's going to be a more in-depth inquest into it. Maybe not as publicly, but from what we've heard, it was the manager that had sent text messages to say go spy on the teams because he is from or he's from a foreign league or from a European league, and he that over there is common practice. They send people to spy on people all the time. Apparently, the reply in the text message was, "I don't think we should be doing this," and he basically said, "Go and do it. Like I don't care, go and do it." So I think it's going to fall on the manager. From what I've heard, the Southampton owner flew back pretty quickly once Southampton had been kicked out. I'm assuming that will be to dismiss the Southampton manager. I do feel sorry for the young lad, the intern that was sent because his name was made public, and at the end of the day, he was backed into a corner probably, and I don't think his name should have been brought out there. But that's the media world that we live in. And again, like I said to you, I think before, this will happen up and down the country every single week in terms of information gets out there, whether it's from agents or the press or whoever or someone else from a different club. Southampton has been caught doing it. Does that make it right? Absolutely not. But information is going to get out there regardless. You have agents constantly in the names of players saying, "Are you playing this week?" Or no, I've not been told I'm on the bench. That gets leaked out. So this happens all up and down the country. But yeah, look, they've put a president in place now, aren't they, to basically say if this happens again, you're going to get points and a fine. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think the right decision was made. Harsh because I don't think you could just automatically send Hull up straight away. I don't think Middlesbrough should be reinstated. What do you do? You know what I mean? It's catch 22, I think. So, but anyway, done and dusted. Should we jump back into the Prem, Grace?
Yeah.
Shall we move to? Should we talk about Burnley Wolves? There's not really much to talk about. Both teams already relegated. It finished in a 1-1 draw. It does mean Wolves finished at the very bottom of the table. They had the chance to finish 19th, but it wasn't to be. Grace, you want to run us through the goals, and we'll move on from this one pretty quickly.
Yeah, so it was an Armstrong penalty that put Wolves in front. It was a handball, I think pretty sufficient as a handball. Penalty awarded correctly. And then look, it's that man Zion Fleming again who made it 1-1. Do you know what? If West Ham had survived, I would have seriously put his name forward as somebody we should look at. Because I really like him. Now I don't think we've got any sort of pull because Burnley are going to be in the championship, so are we. But I really like him. I really like it. It was another goal that was decent. He's not scared of shooting from outside the box or taking chances. He's got the confidence, and I really like him. I think he deserves to stay in the Premier League if anybody's going to give him a chance. You never know. But yeah, like you said, it was a fight for 19th, and neither team could beat each other. It was one of those very scrappy. And yeah, they knew their fate anyway. Isn't it interesting that they played each other on the final day? I thought that was really interesting.
It,
Um,
it
go
is
on.
considering it still gives Wolves a little bit of something to play for, considering they've spent pretty much the entire season at the bottom of the table. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a tough one to take. But then again, you get used to being in the championship fairly early on, rather than it be a shock on the final. Well, not a shock, but be
yeah,
sort of confirmed on the final day of the season. Yeah, I think these two are going to be very interested in the championship next season. I think Burnley, with Michael Jackson, you never know. And Wolves with Rob Edwards, I think that appointment was made purely for the championship. So yeah, look, I'm gonna keep very close eye on how they do in the championship next year. But yeah, it was a sort of it suited 1-1 this game.
yeah. Should we move to another 1-1 in Nottingham and Bournemouth, and we'll rattle through that one again. We're trying to fly through the ones that didn't really have much significance in the table form because we're going to get into the meat of it later on. Grace, do you want to run through the goals on this one for me?
Yes, I can. And it was another man proving he should have been in the England squad, in my opinion. Morgan Gibbs White. It was a laid off free kick, and he just did what Morgan Gibbs White does. And it was a fantastic goal. Then, Bournemouth scored another great goal. It was Tavernier. It was a really nice finish. It was a cross pulled back this time. He had far too much time, if you ask me. And yeah, another great finish. I think there were some really, really great chances in this game. Really great chances, some of which were just unlucky to not be a goal, with good saves. There was all sorts in this game. Really interesting one. And I actually don't think the 1-1 scoreline really reflected the excitement of the game, really. But yeah, nothing really to play for here. Forest safe, and Bournemouth they pretty much guaranteed European football. I think they could have done with. Oh no, they couldn't have reached Champions League. I don't think, could they?
Yeah,
Trying to
they
think.
could have done, but it'd have had to have been a goal difference of six between, like, Bournemouth win 3-0, Liverpool lose 3-0, then they've got Champions League. But it was a big ask.
Yeah, it was a big ask, and they've got themselves in the Europa League for next season. Brilliant.
Yeah, do you know what? It's good competition for them, and with the introduction of this new sort of Champions League system and the Conference League, etc., it gives teams like Bournemouth, Sunderland, West Ham, Tottenham, if you want to say they should be there, or I mean, there's arguments to say they should be a Champions League team. I'll let everyone else argue over that. But look, it gives teams like that a chance to win a silverware. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
Yeah,
it's good for Bournemouth.
yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I'm really pleased with how, other than the bottom of the table, how the table sort of displayed itself towards the end of the season, because I think all the teams that are in the Champions League can compete in the Champions League. I think all the teams that could compete in Europa League can compete in Europa League, and the same with Brighton getting Conference League. I just think it's sort of shuffled its way for a very random season. It shuffled its way into a really nice combination of people being in competitions that they could actually give a good go to.
Yeah, absolutely. I've not really got anything else to add on to this one. Do you want to pick the next game that we'll go to?
Yeah, what have we done? Oh, what about Man City 1, Aston Villa 2?
Yeah, and this weekend was, as most final days are, it was a weekend of goodbyes, and we'll start with Pep Guardiola, unbelievable manager, probably one of the best we've seen in the Premier League for a long time, if not at all. Do you know what I mean? He's an unbelievable manager. What he did at City, you can argue about money and all that sort of stuff. I don't care. You still got to win the games. You still got to win the titles. That man was unbelievable. But not only him, I think John Stones has also confirmed he's leaving as well, isn't he? So another goodbye there. It wasn't to be for the final day, though, Grace.
And Bernardo Silva.
And Bernardo Silva, that is true. I think there's going to be a big change at Man City, especially with Pep Guardiola leaving now. I think maybe a few people might want out. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. Maresca is being lined up, apparently, I think.
Yeah, and I actually think if anybody's going to replace Pep at the moment, it's probably somebody who was sort of learned his trade under Pep. I think that's quite a nice, gentle sort of introduction to a new manager. I was really disappointed to see Pep go in. I thought he was building something really nice. I thought, they missed out this season, but give them another transfer window, and I think they could have really gone for it next season under Pep. They still could under Maresca, but obviously there's more question marks now. There's the same conversation, isn't there, about are people jumping ship before these charges come through? This Pep move, this Pep leaving feels very random in many ways. It came a bit out of the blue. Excuse the pun. Um, I don't know how much I want to read into that. Um, but yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued where Pep's going to go next. Forget the 115 charges. I'm really intrigued where Pep's going to go next. And it's going to be really interesting to see what City do next season.
100%. I mean, let's see how the World Cup goes, but I would not be opposed to Pep being the England manager at all.
But I mean, we could only dream of that, couldn't we? I mean, that would just be sensational, sensational. The confidence you would have of, Pep Guardiola being, oh God, it's not even worth thinking about, because you just sit there and you go, all right, when's the trophy then? Do you know what I mean? He's extraordinary.
It would be a shame because I'd like to have seen Pep. Not at the time, I'd have said absolutely no way, but I'd like to have seen Harry Kane under Pep Guardiola. And obviously, we've seen what he can do with Haaland, and obviously, Haaland's a goal machine. But I'd like to have seen what Kane would have done under Pep. But should we talk a little bit about Villa? It was they took the honours at the end of the day. Ollie Watkins found a little bit of form just at the right time, Grace.
Yes, just at the right time. My goodness, they're still running on that high of winning the Europa League. And I think, again, I talk about it every single week, but it's the psychology of football, isn't it? They were probably half hungover playing the game yesterday, but because they were in a good place, because they were confident, because they felt free, they didn't have a weight on their shoulders. They could go to the Etihad, which was actually quite a tough ask. They could go to the Etihad and get themselves 3 points. And like you say, Watkins coming into form, that really helps England, with having two strikers. I know that he's added Ivan Toney as well. But having two strikers like Kane and Watkins, really kicking on, ready for the World Cup is always a good thing. Um, just a massive fan of Watkins. I don't know about you, really big fan of Watkins.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm always going to be a little bit biased because I'm a Tottenham fan, but I think he's a step down from Harry Kane, but who isn't? Do you know what I mean? Harry
Exactly.
Kane is one of the in my opinion, one of the well best. So yeah, it is a step down, but he can hang up there, Ollie Watkins, and I do like him.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody is saying that he sort of rivals Kane for that starting spot. I think Kane is probably the first name on the team sheet in many ways for these England games. If he's fit, he's playing. So yeah, naturally he's second place, but you can't help be second place to one of the best that there is.
Yeah, and do you know what? You've actually completely reminded me because I forgot. But yeah, congratulations, Villa, for winning the Europa League final. I actually sat down and watched that game in the pub, and yeah, it went pretty much how I expected it to go. To be honest with you, I mean, who was it? Who was the play? Was it Freiburg or something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Freiburg.
I mean, they're no mugs, but Villa just ran them off the park. It was phenomenal in that second half. Um, well, first and second, to be fair, there was phenomenal all game. But yeah, should we move on to somewhere else?
Yeah, who have we not covered? Let's just
We
ignore all the relegation
should we go
records.
Brighton nil, Man United 3?
Let's do it.
Yeah, and a little less cheeky assist from Bruno Fernandes, Grace.
Yes, well, this is controversial, isn't it? Because he has got the assist record, but they're thinking of taking it off of him, aren't they? Because of the who will it be? Brighton
It was
goalkeeper.
it
Who's
was
Brighton goalkeeper?
it was Dargo's
Brugge.
goal. There's talks of there's talks of it being a own goal from Verbruggen, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. There's talks of it coming off of Verbruggen, and him not being given that assist. Oh, I don't know. I He's had a phenomenal season, Bruno Fernandes, and I'm pleased from a United point of view that this ended in a 3-0 comfortable win. Fernandes getting the assist. It just felt really fairy tale like in many ways. Um, I sort of hope they don't take it away from him because I think he's
Oh,
deserved it.
yeah, but there's a bit about it where it would be funny, innit? It would be very funny. Everyone said it about Tottenham being relegated. Everyone wanted Tottenham to go down because it would be funny, and that's what people like. Football's brutal, man. And if this did get taken off Bruno, it would just be a bit funny.
And look, it wouldn't shock me if they do it. It wouldn't
Yeah.
shock me if they do it because it's the type of decision that they make. And whether it's right or wrong, I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like I've got bigger fish to fry at the moment, other than
Well,
Fernandez's assist
do
record.
do you remember when Christian Eriksen scored and it was the Tottenham actually sent it to review because Harry Kane got a flick on it with his head and they was trying to get him the golden boot. So it was like there was a bit people were like, really, come on. But yeah, do you remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know. Fair play. He's had a fantastic season, but it would be a bit funny.
Okay, yeah, I mean it would be from a football point of view, it would be a bit funny. I'm pleased for United, but they are ending this season a little bit too happy. We just need to sprinkle a little bit of salt on that because they are leaving this season very, very happy. Um, yeah, it was goals from Dorgu and Burmo and Fernandez. Did you see the second goal?
To be honest with you, this is one game that I've actually managed to avoid. I don't understand. I've not seen anything from this game really.
Well, when you get the chance, watch that second goal. It is just ticky tacky, lovely. Um, it's just a lovely goal. It's little minute passes, knowing exactly where the people around you are going to be, and then Mbermo just finishes it off. It's one of those goals where the finish isn't glamorous, but the build up is just lovely, and I think it shows off the difference between Amorim's United and Carrick's United that are ending the season. So, big fan of that goal, and then Fernandez's goal was a great finish. Yeah, Brighton not really anything to play for, really, because they were on. Oh no, they could have lost out on Europe if Brentford had won. Um, so I guess they were lucky in the end. So I'm absolutely chatting shit because they did have something to play for. Um, I'm just a mess today. They could have played for something. In the end, they didn't need to because Brentford didn't get the result that they needed to, and Chelsea didn't either. So Brighton get themselves Europa Conference League. Yeah,
Yeah, I was just watching that second goal as you was chatting shit there, mate. So, um, yeah, no, lovely goal for Man United. Yeah, fair enough. We'll have to see how Carrick does with 2 games a week next season. It'll be interesting that one, but I think the one or two signings maybe, and I think they'll be all right. They've got to sort that midfield out. United, I think that's probably their weakest part at the moment. But especially with the likes of again Casemiro, he's now leaving or left. So, should we jump elsewhere, Grace? What have we got left? Uh, have we done full Newcastle?
no, we have not.
No, so that's we'll go there then. Let's go to Craven Cottage, isn't it?
Yes, it is
I said,
indeed.
yeah, I said that not very convincingly. Let's go to Craven Cottage. Fulham 2, Newcastle nil, and a bit of a dampener on Newcastle's end of the season. There's question marks over Eddie Howe, and the last couple of games there was okay, maybe we are going to be okay, and then they just got smacked 2-0. But not really much in this, was there, to be fair? So
No, and they were on the beach. If only they could have been on the beach at St James's Park a week ago. Um, they just, yeah, it was just a classic end of the season game, and Fulham took advantage of it. It was Diop who scored the first goal, header from a free kick that came off the bar, just in the right place. I think there was some sort of, should it be offside, all that jazz, but I think it was confirmed that he was perfectly onside. If I remember rightly. And then it was Tom Cairney made it 2-0. Good. I mean, that's a name that I just think of when I think of Fulham. Absolute top bins, this one. Really, it was a lovely goal. And I actually think Fulham could have had more in this game. It was maybe flattering to Newcastle that it ended 2-0.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, mate, I've got nothing to add for this game at all. You've covered the goals, and I'm happy to move on. Nothing to play for. I think Fulham finished 11th, I think was it, and Newcastle finished
Yeah,
12th. So there we
yeah,
go, right in the middle of the table. Where should we go to next, Grace? Let's have a look. Should we talk about Liverpool Brentford?
yes.
Yes, more goodbyes again at Anfield. Quite a few goodbyes, actually. We say goodbye to Mo Salah, arguably one of the best players the Premier League has seen. And Robertson, he's gone. And I think Alisson's pretty much confirmed to be going as well. So, yeah, a lot of goodbyes and a new era for Liverpool.
Yeah, I think a new era for the Premier League, it seems, after this final day, because like you said, there was a lot of important goodbyes yesterday. Liverpool did score the first goal. It was Curtis Jones, and it was more importantly a Salah assist, which I think was quite nice that obviously it would have been perfect if he'd have scored, but an assist isn't too bad.
And he very nearly did. My setup for Sunday, my phone probably has the most reliable stream on it. So the Tottenham game went on there. I had the West Ham game on my laptop, and I had Liverpool on the TV. And so I managed to watch these 3 games for the full 90 minutes. For the first 20 minutes of that game, Salah was just on it. He was absolutely flying, and I was thinking, "What are you doing, mate? Like you could do this for another year, another 2 years, or something." Like, yes, he's probably not the player he was. His legs maybe are slowing down a bit, but unbelievable.
And he is an unbelievable player. That's the thing. And I'm so pleased that in the end it finished amicably. I'm so pleased it didn't, well, on the day, it was
Yes.
amicable. It was an enjoyable day for him and his family and those Liverpool fans.
It was the exchange between him and Slot when he came off. Question marks, but
Yeah,
look, I think the bigger picture that day was Salah's career as a whole, and but yeah, I mean Brentford fought back. They got a goal through Kevin Schade, unbelievable player, Kevin Schade, I love him. And yeah, Brentford 1-1. I think you just say Brentford had to score again, didn't they, to get Europa Conference League football next season. I'd have loved to have seen them in Europe, especially under Keith Andrews. But I think it's a good season all round from Brentford.
Yeah, absolutely. Considering they were up for relegation to begin with, I think a lot of people put them in their relegation places due to losing Thomas Frank and due to losing the players that they did. But I think they've done magnificently.
Absolutely. And again, I know we spoke about him quite a bit this season, so I won't talk too much. But Mo Salah leaves Rio Ngamoa. Oh, he's some bloody player, isn't he? He's fantastic.
He is, and I think he's very exciting from an England point of view.
Mm, absolutely. Anything else you want to add on this game?
No, shall we get
Yes,
into
sorry,
the
actually, one
main
last thing I
highlight?
want to say. I think Liverpool have to be very, very careful here because I think what might happen now is Slot's going to bring in one or two more players to cover the players that are obviously leaving. If they get off to a poor start, they're going to sack Slot pretty quickly because he's already
Yeah.
under pressure. And you've got to remember, Liverpool, you're going through a rebuild. This is probably the rebuild that you would have expected the season after Klopp left. You had a very good season, you won the league. Everyone was expecting you to be a bit lower in your standards. I would be. I'm Slot. Yeah, I'm not saying he's a fantastic manager just yet, but he has still won you the Premier League. So let's just bear that in mind. I wouldn't be too hasty in sacking him. That's all I would say.
I hope you can convince all the people that make those decisions of that, because generally in the Premier League, as soon as you have three bad games on the bounce, you're out.
But that's the thing, isn't it? You are going to go through a rebuild, and I think, look, you might blow us out the water and you might smash it, but you have got to be careful. I think that they are very quickly to sack people these days, so you just got to bear that in mind. You will be going through a rebuild. Look, if you lose the first 7 or 8 games on the bounce, then yeah, of course sack him. But yeah, just be careful.
Yeah, careful what you wish for in many ways.
Absolutely. I think that brings us to the final two games, Chris.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, we spoke about we spoke about Forest and Bournemouth. Yeah, it does. It brings us on to these two games. We won't break each one down. We'll cover them both simultaneously. Tottenham 1, Everton nil, West Ham 3, Leeds nil. Like I said, I watched both of these games in full, and to be honest with you, Grace, if you'd have played like that all season, you'd be nowhere near it. I thought you was incredible that game. I thought Leeds were very good. Second half, anyway. I think maybe the first half was a bit sort of tetchy, but that second half, I was impressed.
Yeah, and what's a shame is we got a Bowen goal that I think we've been crying out for a long time. That was a classic Bowen finish. And it just, we won 3-0 yesterday. And yeah, Leeds were probably somewhat on the beach, expectedly. But we won 3-0 yesterday. A lot of people said we wouldn't even win that. Um, and it's such a shame, isn't it? Because that second half, we showed an element of quality that we've got. Ended it on 39 points, which just feels so harsh to go down on. 39 points is crazy. But to be fair, the point is, points wise, it doesn't matter. If you're in that bottom three, you're in that bottom three. And like you said, I think if we'd have turned up like that against Newcastle, it'd maybe be me smiling and you in my position today. That's how close it was.
I said to you because I mean, you go back to when we first started this podcast. We was talking as if West Ham had already been relegated. It's the hope that kills you. You'd sort of fought back quite well. Now, I mean, we didn't. We did you so many favors in terms of just being generally shit for most of the season, but you still fought back and you was looking good. There has been. You've probably already seen this. It was announced about 2 hours ago now. Nuno is facing the sack. West Ham boss called into a crisis meeting immediately after relegation from the Premier League. To be honest with you, if Nuno fancied it, I'd keep him in the Championship.
The problem is, Matt, is I think it's if we go down, and we have gone down now, we need to do a full refresh. We need to start blank slate. We need to rebuild ourselves essentially. And I think Nuno's agent's already come out and said he's too big to be in the championship now. He doesn't deserve to be in the championship and all that sort of stuff. There has been lot, look, Matty, he had 32 games to turn this around for us, and granted, he walked into an absolute shit show. I don't doubt that. He did make some foul mistakes, in terms of team selection, in terms of, shutting up shop early and us conceding and, either drawing the game or losing the game. I just I don't think West Ham fans would be happy if we went into the championship with Nuno, honestly.
Well, look, you know the club better than what I do. I just had thought it was worth shouting out. I think if you'd have gone down with Nuno and he'd have rebuilt it how he fancied, coming back up, I think you'd have been all right. But like I said, you know the club better than I do.
And the problem is, Matty, is that sentiment is all well and good if you've got owners that trust you to spend the money, and it's just not the case. You know, David Sullivan spends our money, and David Sullivan gets who he wants. You know, there's not. It's everyone keeps banging on to me that today about, don't you wish you hadn't sacked Moyes now? I mean, look, Moyes wasn't sacked. Moyes didn't want to say that. He didn't, because he didn't get any real say on any of the transfers. We had a what they called, thingy of football. Forgotten what they called, that decide on all the transfers.
Like Sporting Director.
Yeah, but it was coming director of football. That was it. Um, Tim Stein, director of football, he just made all the decisions, pissed the money away in many ways, and that's why David Moyes also didn't want to be there. And the football was shit. The fans didn't really want Moyes anymore, and I'll be honest with you, having seen some of the Everton fans reacting to yesterday in their display against Tottenham, um, they also want him out as well. So there is an understanding of that football is quite outdated, and it's not, it's not enjoyable football necessarily. But also, it's worth saying that we didn't just hound him out. He didn't want to be there anymore, and there was a reason he didn't want to be there anymore, and it's because of the ownership. And that's the point. Is even if we did keep Nuno, and it was a case of, oh yeah, let him rebuild how he wants to rebuild, that's just not the way our club works. Our club works because David Sullivan makes the decisions.
Well, I think it was reported that they need to raise 140 million in player transfers. I think there's an argument to say it could be more than that, mate. To be honest with you.
Honestly, Matty, if we don't come up first time of asking, I really worry for us.
Absolutely.
It's a scary thing because, look, like my dad said to me yesterday, 5 years from now, we could say this was the turning point that got him out, and we could all be really thankful for that. Because to be honest with you, he stabbed us and twisted the knife.
Well, the Tottenham fans were saying the exact same thing about the Eni group. They said, look, if we do go down, the owners will probably have to get rid of the club anyway. So I fully understand what you're saying. It could be a turning point for you.
I hope so, because we've gone into the owners and the financial state we're in, but in terms of the fact that they just let us dry, I mean, we've got nothing left. I'll remind you of the exact words Karen Brady said before we moved to the London Stadium: a world-class stadium for a world-class club. And you just think, no, we're fucking not. No, we're not. We're not. We're now just being relegated. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those where it's like we are walking into the championship with a 60,000 capacity athletic stadium. We don't even have our own stadium anymore. None of us really identify with it. It's just such a sad state of affairs. And I am so hopeful that it goes the way of this being the beginning of something brilliant rather than it being the beginning of the end. Because I mean, that ownership they did it to Birmingham. This is the problem. They did it to Blues. We've
Well,
seen it. We've
we spoke
seen it
about
all
that, didn't
before.
we? We spoke about that on the podcast we did during the international break, where we spoke about the ins and outs of what could happen to the club if relegated. And we said, why was there not screened more? If they've done this to Birmingham, why it was he allowed to take over another club?
Yeah. Why? I mean, it is so gut wrenching when you love a football club and it is just slowly torn away from you, and it annoys me more now. I'm glad Karen Brady's gone, but it annoys me even more now because she can make all those detrimental decisions, employ managers because she's friends with their wives. She can do that and then just fuck off. Like, she can just walk away. Sorry for my language. I'm very passionate about this. She can just walk away so easily from the absolute mess her and David Sullivan have created. And it is just, Matty, he left by the 80th minute yesterday. He just left.
Yeah, I'd seen that.
He just left because he knew that, by the second half of that game yesterday, we pretty much knew Tottenham were going to hold on to that 1-0. Because let's be honest, Everton didn't turn up. They were on the beach. I mean, I know you probably don't think that, but from my point of view, that's the way I saw that game. I saw that game as Everton. There was not a chance Everton were getting back into that game. And, everybody turned to David Sullivan and were just screaming about how much they've just gutted us. They've just gutted us like a fish. It's just ridiculous.
I'm glad you were confident because I think with about 3 minutes to go, I was thinking we could still lose this 2-1. Like, don't underestimate Tottenham. We have done surprised a lot of people. Let's put it that way. Should we talk about a little bit about Tottenham? Obviously, there were the happier side of London. 1-0 against Everton, like you say, they probably didn't. Everton didn't really turn up. Tottenham just got the job done. Palini, I don't want to hear a bad word about him. I've heard Tottenham fans saying get rid of him. We should never have took him on loan. What that man has done for us this season, he got us a last-minute goal against Wolves in a 1-1 draw. He got us
Mhm.
the only goal in a 1-0 win against Wolves, and then he got us the goal yesterday. He's bailed us out on so many occasions. Without the points from his goals, we would be relegated. I love Pelini; he was fantastic yesterday. Kinski, unbelievable. That did you see the save at the end?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. What I guess I've said so many times, what he's done since Madrid, absolutely fair play to him. Do I want him as number one next season? I wouldn't be opposed to it. Would I also like a new goalkeeper, like a James Trafford? I wouldn't be opposed to it. So it's hard. I'd like to see what's going to happen with him next season. Maybe, and I'm probably the only person in the country that feels this way. I wouldn't be opposed to Kinski going on a season-long loan to Hull.
Interesting.
Just off my personal. I mean, I've seen Ivan Pandor play week in week out, and Jesus Christ, his distribution is awful. Great shot stopping, but he can't keep the ball to save his life, which is quite vital for a goalkeeper. But yeah, I want to just make it out there as well. Spurs have already agreed deals with Marcus Senesi and Andy Robertson. That then both of them two are already going to be joining the club. So yeah, this is why, like I said to you, we need. Well, of course we need to stay up, but we need to stay up. We've already got these contracts in place. Where would we be now? I couldn't tell you. So it felt right for Spurs yesterday, and I think the majority, well, no, all of the credit has to go to De Zerbi. What he's done since coming in has been unbelievable. So De Zerbi, thank you a lot because you have saved me a lot of grief. And Grace, I'm just sorry it's turned out this way.
We dug our own grave, to be honest with you. The only thing I would say, and I mentioned this to you before we started recording, I have had a lot of stick from Spurs fans this morning. Obviously, not all of them, obviously, but there is a lot of cockiness for a team that were literally Newcastle not turning up to one game away from being in the championship. Do you know what I mean? They were lucky, lucky, lucky. 2 points were in it. Like you said about the Paulinho, you know, his impact and the goals he's got. That was a scrappy old goal you got yesterday. That was not a beautiful, to be fair, we scored more beautiful goals than you did.
Yeah,
Um, and I think, there's a hell of a lot of cockiness from a club that were, you need to just take this, consider yourselves lucky and go for it next season. Blank slate, go for it next season. I do not want to be hearing from Tottenham fans that now think they're the dog's bollocks because they've stayed up. You think, right, Matty, what's your opinion on the celebrating for staying up? What is your opinion on that?
my opinion is Tottenham are fucking massive, and you should just shut up because you're in the Championship, mate. So, no, I'm only messing. No, no. Like I said to you, these for me, I was not celebrating yesterday whatsoever. I do not want to be celebrating avoiding relegation. I was relieved. I felt very relieved, and I think, like I said to you earlier on, I think there's three people that can maybe celebrate. James Madison because he's been phenomenal since he's got not phenomenal. That's probably a bit extreme, but he's looked good since he's come back anyway from his ACL. Kinski because he has genuinely been phenomenal, and Robert De Zerbi. Look, there's arguments to say like Kevin Danzo, etc. He's been quality as well, but I think them three deserve a lot of praise. And yeah, look, I'm not celebrating it, but I'm very relieved. And yeah, I probably went a bit too far, and them Spurs fans that are giving you a bit of grief should maybe just realise where we are and just how close we
Oh,
came to.
Hang on, sorry, my audio's gone.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Yeah, AirPods finally ran out.
Mate, to be fair, you like on my end, you're miles more clearer now.
Oh,
Oh,
am I still there?
yeah, you're just flying around the screen a bit. It's all good.
There we go.
There we go. We're back.
Okay, good.
Yeah, look, anything else that you want to add on?
No, I don't think so. I think, I've just like I heard a lot of West Ham fans say yesterday, I think there is just an element of wanting to get on with the championship now because I think as soon as you kick a ball in the championship next season, the aim is going to be right, let's get back up again. And you will almost forget this grief. And I'm really hoping for a positive season next season. I'm really hoping that there's some big players who maybe decide to stay. I mean, Bowen not getting in the England squad for us could be a positive
Well,
because
I was gonna say just really quickly on that one, where is Bowen staying or is he gonna go?
based on what he was saying yesterday, there's part of me that thinks he's going to stay now because he's not getting in. I think the only reason he goes is if Liverpool come calling. I think if Liverpool come calling, we'd all say go. Go and be successful. Go and try and win a trophy because that one feels really open and it feels like a massive opportunity for him. But I think there is also a part of him that thinks, look at the respect someone like Mark Noble gets at West Ham. He's a club legend. He can do no wrong. If Jared Bowens takes us down but stays with us and brings us back up again, that man would get a statue. Do you know what I mean? Like he would be beyond a club legend. He would be like one of our greatest players ever. And I don't think he can underestimate that, especially because he's not getting in the England squad anyway. Do you see what I mean? Like I think it depends on who comes calling. I think we've got players like Mateus Fernandez that can help us raise those funds. I think we're probably gonna ask a certain amount for him because he's absolutely awesome.
Somerville.
Um, Somerville is another one that could go. Mavropanos is another one that could go. There's going to be a clear out, but there's something that tells me today that the likes of maybe Souček and Bowen, maybe they'll stay just one more year, just 1 year. It'll be interesting to see who we can persuade to stay for that year and just sit, that sort of just give us a year, we'll go back up. Do you see what I mean? Because if we stay with some of the players we've got now, I actually think we'd come back up because, a lot of them are Premier League quality. I mean, imagine having Jared Bowen in the Championship, for God's sake.
Yeah, it's a shame we won't get to see him play against Hull though.
Yeah, that is a shame. And maybe look, we're in the first round of the bloody EFL Cup, so who knows? Maybe the FA Cup or the EFL Cup, or But the good news is the Dockers Derby's back. West Ham Millwall is back.
Are you going to that one or are you avoiding it?
I am. I might do the London Stadium one, but there is not a chance in hell this face is going to the Den. It's not going to happen. I am far too yeah. I cannot do that to myself. I feel like I'm too obviously a West Ham fan on social media and things like people would just target me. I think.
Absolutely throw me in the middle of it. I do not care. It'll be great. It'll be great. Right, Grace, give us your game of the week. I'm going to assume it won't be the West Ham one.
No, I don't know. Actually, I didn't even think of game of the week this week. I know that's
To be honest,
terrible.
there wasn't that like the games weren't that brilliant, were they? It was all kind of pretty much wrapped up.
I think I'll probably go Sunderland Chelsea because of
Yeah,
what it did for Sunderland.
that's where I gravitated towards actually. Yeah, we'll go with that one. Player of the week.
I think I'm gonna have to go for Paulinho. I think I
Just
am.
about to say exactly the same thing. Polina, you fucking legend. We love you. We absolutely love you. Sign him up. I know he's not a deserving player. I don't care. Sign him up. I'm getting too excited. Like you just said, for where we finished, man. He's hitting me.
Stamping it down.
We're still, yeah. I need to pipe down a little bit. But look, I'm excited because I get to see Tottenham play Hull next season, so that'll be interesting. I will just throw it out there though, because people have been asking me who would I be supporting. 100% Tottenham. 100% Tottenham every day of the week and twice on a Sunday. Right? I just like City's my hometown. Fucking love Tottenham. All right, so there we go. City fans, come at me. Grace, it's been a long season, but thank you. It's been very enjoyable. This isn't over though. We're going to do it all again next season and again next week when we do our little quiz, end of season quiz, and a little sort of breakdown. Just sort of probably final thoughts on the season once everything has settled, and then we'll jump straight into the World Cup. Grace, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week when hopefully I'm a little bit less looking like a peanut because I haven't washed my hair and I'm also a little bit happier, hopefully.
she won't be happy. They'll still be relegated. But also, like social media, go check out Grace's TikTok, where she doesn't look like a peanut at all. And while you're there, check out GME Media, which also present this podcast. Grace, thank you so much, and we'll see you later.
See you later.
Bye bye.